Great. Well, hello, everyone. My name is Abby, and I'm on the Mangomint product marketing team, and super excited to have you all in today's feature spotlight. So today we're going to cover resource scheduling. This is a really exciting feature. It's going to help you better manage all of your resources in your Mangomint account. We're going to spend about 30 minutes together today in this webinar. I'll give you a demo of how it works, and we'll go over a lot of different use cases for you to try out in your business. Of course, if you have any questions, feel free to throw those in the chat and we will get to those. And if we don't get to any of your questions during the webinar, we'll absolutely be able to follow up with you after the webinar ends. So we'll be following up with you later if needed. So let me go ahead and share my screen. So we will just go ahead and jump into the Mangomint app, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so it looks like you all can see Mangomint okay. Let me know if you cannot. All right, so let's go ahead and kind of dive in here. And before we dive in too deep, I want to give you guys a little bit more of an overview of what resource scheduling is. So resource scheduling is a really powerful addition to our calendar and scheduling functionality. You can use resource scheduling to create different resources in your account, allocate them, and automatically assign any resource that you have to a service. So this is a really powerful feature because it's going to make sure that you have every space and tool available exactly when you need it for your appointments. And I will call out as well that we released resource scheduling at the end of March, and we've actually continued to make additional improvements to it as well. So definitely stick around for the end of this webinar, because at the very end, I'm going to cover one of our recent resource scheduling enhancements that we just added within the last couple weeks. So make sure you stay around for that as well. And I also want to call out before we dive in too deep here that resource scheduling is available on all Mangomint plans, so everybody can use this. So now let's kind of cover some examples of resources. You know, when we're talking about resources, what does that really mean? So a resource, I really feel that these fall into two different buckets or categories. So the first one would be rooms or other types of service spaces that you have in your business. So this could be something like a massage room. If you do float pod, therapy sessions, it would be a float pod, a sauna, a steam room. Maybe you offer red light therapy services, so you have a room set up for that. So those are some examples of service spaces you could have in your business. The other kind of category that resources typically fall into would be various types of equipment and tools you might use in your business. So this could be things like hot stones. Maybe you have an LED light therapy machine. You got a massage table. If you offer lymphatic drainage massages, then you might have a machine for that. You offer microdermabrasion, so you have a machine for that. So that would be kind of different examples of equipment and tools you might have in your business. And so you can use resource scheduling to manage both your rooms and your service spaces, along with other types of equipment and tools in your salon or your spa. And I also wanted to call out here that if anybody listening, if you're still using our legacy resources feature, and if you need help transitioning to our latest edition of the resources feature, definitely let us know. If you have any questions about that process, about migrating over, it's super easy, and our support team can help you with that. So just reach out to our support team if you have any questions about that. Okay, so we've covered what resources are, but I want to talk a little bit more as well about why you should consider using resource scheduling in your salon or your spa. So resource scheduling is really going to let you book your client appointments with a lot more confidence. So you're going to be able to ensure that all of your resources are available when you need them. You're going to be able to see all of your resources at a glance on the calendar, and I'm going to show you how to do that in Mangomint. So this is really going to, make it that much easier for you. You're not going to have to check a bunch of inventory or dig through complicated menus to look at, multiple resources at once and see, okay, which is available. You're kind of digging through, you're not really sure. It's hard to see that. We've made that super easy to see all at a glance in your calendar. And so this is going to make sure that you also never double book important resources. That's so important, when you're offering a service, especially when you have a client in your salon or spa, they're standing right in front of you. They're ready to have their service that they previously scheduled. You need to make sure that all of the resources that you need to carry out that service are available. And they need to be ready to go. So you want to really deliver a really good client experience, and using resource scheduling is going to help you do that. So it's also going to help them, reduce your client wait times. And another cool benefit of resource scheduling is that it will help you optimize your resource usage. So this is really nice. So many of you guys, you invested a lot of money in very, expensive tools and machines and things like that in many cases. And so you want to make sure that you're really maximizing those resources, and resource scheduling is going to help you do that. Okay, so we're looking at our calendar right now, but now I'm actually going to show you guys how to enable resource scheduling in your account so that you're kind of set up and ready to go. And we'll also quickly cover a couple permissions that you'll want to use for resource scheduling as well. And then after that, we're going to dive in more into different use cases for resource scheduling and how to actually set it up. So right now we are in Mangomint in the calendar view, but what you're going to do first is you're going to check and make sure that you have it enabled. So first you just go to settings, and then you'll actually go to our app manager. So if you go here, again, if any of you haven't yet checked out the app manager, definitely take a peek in here. This is going to help you discover new different apps, as well as integrations for your Mangomint platform. So go ahead and click on that. And then we can see here at the top, we have our list of enabled apps. And then below, we have the list of available apps. And so if you haven't yet enabled resource scheduling, you would see it down here at the bottom with the available apps. Because I've already enabled resource scheduling in this account, we can see it here. I'll go ahead and click on that just so you can see what this looks like. So this is kind of just an overview of resource scheduling. We've got some details, a couple settings for you. If for any reason, if you had not yet enabled it, you would just see a button here that says enable. And so all you need to do is click that. Because I previously already enabled this feature in my account, it's already enabled here. So we don't want to disable it or anything. We'll just keep this enabled in my account. So definitely first go to your app manager and make sure that that is enabled. That's the first step. Now I want to also point out a couple different permissions to be aware of that are related to resource scheduling. So now that we've ensured that this is enabled in our account, we're going to go over to settings, and we're actually going to adjust our staff member settings quickly as well. So if you go here and go to settings and then click on staff members, let's go ahead and choose Harriet Love. We're just going to update her permissions. And we want to check and make sure that she has all of the proper permissions to use resource scheduling. So if you just click on the permissions tab here, all you need to do is scroll down to the section that's titled resources. Okay, and we'll just scroll down a little bit further. And right here, you can see there are two different permissions here. The first one is can manage resources, and the second one is can view resources on the calendar. So you definitely want to check and look at all your staff members and see if you want any of them or all of them, for example, to have one or both of these permissions. So it looks like Harriet already has them enabled. We can check out Jennifer. We'll just go here and check out her settings. Okay, and we'll just scroll down here, and she does not have them enabled. So if you wanted to enable these permissions for Jennifer, all you need to do is enable these two toggles there, or just one of them. Maybe we only want her to view resources on the calendar, but we don't want to let her manage resources. So you have that flexibility within your permissions for your staff members. Okay, so that's kind of the general setup for resource scheduling. Now I'm going to show you how to set up a resource group with some resources in it. So in order to set up a resource group, we are going to hop over here to the settings tab, and we're going to click on that. And then we are actually going to go right here to resources. And this is where you can manage all of your resources. So as you can see here, I've already set up a few in my account, so you can take a look at some of those. And then what we're going to do now is add a resource group. And as you can see here, a resource group is just a collection of different related resources in many cases. You can kind of set these up in the way that makes the most sense to you. So what we're going to do is click Add Resource Group. And then I'm going to go ahead and add a group name. So I'm going to just call this Rooms. Keep it pretty simple here. And then hit Create. So now I've set up my resource group. And then all I need to do is go and add some resources for it. So what you can do here is click on Add a Resource, And then we're just going to add a few different rooms here. So we'll go room 1, hit create. There are some different settings you can play around with here, and we're going to dive deeper into these when we talk about the use cases. But for example, you can choose how many appointments can use this resource at the same time. For now, we're just going to keep it selected to 1 appointment at a time for this room because we don't want multiple people booking this room at one time. This is typically, in this case, we're going to use this room for a lot of like massages or facials, and we just want 1 client in there at once. So we're going to leave it to 1 appointment at a time. And then you can also play around with the schedule as well. And again, we'll cover this in more detail. For this particular example, we're just going to leave it to always available. So this particular room is always available to be booked. And then what we'll do is just go ahead, and that's all we need to do there is we've added that room, and we're just going to go, and I'm going to add a couple more just so you guys can see what that looks like. And we're going to keep the settings for these other rooms the same, just to kind of show you guys the flow of how this works. Okay, perfect. So now we've set up 3 different rooms that are in the rooms resource group. And so next, what you would do here at this point is you would be adding these resources to their corresponding service. And so I'm going to show you exactly how to do that and also show you what it looks like on the calendar as we kind of go through and walk through some common use cases for resource scheduling. Okay, so I want to now dive into some more common use cases for resource scheduling. So the first one here is I'm going to show you how to assign multiple resources to a single service. So this is definitely a super common use case. You probably have a lot of services that either need 1, 2, maybe even 3 or more resources at one time. And so I will show you how to do this. And I will say, like, an example of this, say for example, you offer facials and you offer a facial that includes a microdermabrasion treatment. And so of course you have a machine for that. So you need to ensure that you have 2 different resources available every time that facial appointment is booked. So 1, you need your microdermabrasion machine available. And then 2, you also need a treatment room available. So I'm going to now show you how to set that up. So what we're going to do here is go over to settings. And then we're going to click on services. And we're actually going to go to the facials category. And what you see here is we have the facial with microdermabrasion service already set up. And I'm actually going to now show you how to add a couple resources to it. And these resources that we're going to add, you probably saw on the previous screen, we already created them, so we don't need to add them again. But I'm now going to show you how to add them here in the services screen, because you need to make sure that they're tied together. You have to tie the corresponding service together with the resource that it needs, and you can do that right here. So what you need to do is just go to the resources tab, and we're going to just click on add resource requirement. So click here. And what you're going to do now is you're just going to select a resource group. So first, I'm going to go to the equipment and tools resource group. Okay. And then we're just going to choose, it says which resources can be used for this service. So in this case, as you guys saw before, I had a lot of different, equipment and tools available in that group. So I don't want to allow just any of them. There's only a specific tool that we need, which is our microdermabrasion machine. And so I'm just going to click on specific resources. And then I'm going to go here, and this will give me the option of all the different tools and equipment that I have available in this group. And so if you click here, you can see it says Diamond Microdermabrasion Machine. So I'm just going to go ahead and click that, and then I'm going to save it. So now we've added our first resource requirement to this service. But if you recall, this isn't the only resource we need. We also need a room available. So what we're going to do is just click on Add Resource Requirement. And this time I'm going to select a different resource group. So I'm instead going to select the rooms group that we made previously. So we're just going to click on that. And then in this case, because these rooms are a little bit interchangeable, we don't need a specific room for this facial treatment. I'm just going to go ahead and leave it as all resources. That means that any of those rooms could be booked for this service. Okay, so then I'm saving that. So now you can see our facial with microdermabrasion has 2 different resources required for it. It has the Diamond Microdermabrasion Machine as well as the rooms resource. So we now have those 2 set up. And so now I'm going to show you guys what this looks like in the calendar when you actually book a facial. So now that we've set that up, we're going to go ahead and go to our calendar view. And then we're going to go ahead and book one of these facials. So let's just click here. Okay. And we're going to search for a client here. Let's say that Rebecca Pearson would like to come in for a facial. And we're going to go ahead and select the service here. We're just going to add the facial with microdermabrasion. And then we're going to go ahead and book the appointment. And this is really cool. So what you guys are going to notice here is, of course, because Harriet's, providing this service, her schedule is blocked off at this time at 3 p.m. But then you're also going to notice that if you scroll to the right, you can see here that we have now blocked off this, the diamond microdermabrasion machine. So you can see that is blocked off. And you can also see that room 1 is blocked off as well. So that's really nice. You can see all of that at a glance. And you can also, I just want to show you guys our filters as well, because there's a lot more you can do with this calendar view. So if we just click here on filters, you can see that right now we're looking at all of the staff and the resources. However, you can use these filters and just look at individual resources, for example. So maybe if you just wanted to look at the equipment and tools resource, you could click that and kind of scroll through and look at these. Or you could look at the steam and sauna rooms. We can also check out the rooms we made previously. So this is really nice. It's a really cool way to kind of drill down and see what information you need at a glance. So again, it's super easy to use these filters. Definitely recommend doing that. You could also, for example, if you don't want to see all your resources for any reason, you just want to focus on your staff schedule, you can use this filter here for all staff and just view your staff. So we'll go ahead and go back to all staff and resources, but definitely recommend you check that out. Something else I want to show you guys, which is super cool, is that you can actually drag and drop. As you guys know before, you can drag the appointments around. It's super easy to do. But with resource scheduling, I'm going to show you what happens here when I drag this. So let's say, for example, we're going to bump this to 4 p.m. So the appointment got moved. If you check out, you'll notice right here that the time block is now moved to 4 p.m. on Harriet's schedule. And if we scroll to the right, you can see that these two resources, the time blocks blocking the timeout for that appointment, it also moved down. So it moved, right in unison with the other one and super easy to do. And then something else that's really nice, kind of on this drag and drop theme, is that you can also, switch between different resources. So I'll show you, for example, let's say, for example, that, they're about to have this appointment, but then they realized, we have a big mess in room 1. We want to get that cleaned up. It's not really ready to be used for a service. We need to move that over to room 2. So all you do is you click here and you can just drag this over. And as long as that resource is available, it's super easy to drag it over. And you can see, if you check out the right side, you can see that it's listing out here in the right side panel which resources are being used. So you can see it's using the diamond microdermabrasion machine and it's using room 2. Now, if we bump this back over to room 1, you can see that on the right side, it automatically updates. So now it's showing as room 1. So super easy to use in the calendar view, and really recommend playing around with this. You're just going to see how easy it is to kind of drag and drop things as needed to move your resources around and view everything that you need at a glance. So that's kind of wrapping up that, I would say, is one of the most common use cases for resource scheduling, just scheduling a service that has one or more required resources. Now I'm actually going to show you guys a second use case. So this is more related to booking services that don't require a staff member, but they do require a resource. So an example of this could be something like, maybe you have a steam room in your business. And so maybe it has a capacity of 6, for example. And so you want to let people book different steam room sessions, or maybe you want to have people book a sauna session, or have them book a float pod session, things like that don't actually require any staff members to be there. So resource scheduling can handle all of that for you, and I'll show you how to do that. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to click on settings and go to resources. So we'll go back down here. Okay, so now we are in the resources setup again, as we were before. And so what we're going to do now is, I've actually already made a resource group called steam and sauna rooms. So we've already set that up previously. And then what we're going to do is we are going to add a new resource to this resource group. And so what we're going to do is just click on add resource, and then we'll just call this Steam Room 2. So we're going to click that and just click create. And so now we kind of can drill into more of these settings and set this up because again, it does not require staff members. So I'll show you how to do that. And also I'll show you how to adjust the capacity. So what you can do here is in this Steam Room example, let's say that it allows for up to 4 people to be in the Steam Room at one time. You can actually set all that up here. So right now it's set to 1 appointment at a time for how many appointments can use this resource at once. But all you need to do is click this button here. So it'll enable this setting to allow a specific number of appointments. And so this is really nice when you have a certain resource that has capacity limits, but it does allow for multiple appointments happening at one time. So we said before that this Steam Room has a capacity of 4 people. So what we're going to do is just click specific number of appointments, and then we're just going to change number of appointments to 4. So now this is set up to allow up to 4 appointments happening at one time. So that's really cool. And then another thing you can also adjust here is the schedule. So I'm going to show you that as well. So let's go over to let's go to schedule here. And so it says, at what times is this resource available? So you can have it be always available, but let's say, for example, that you only offer your Steam Room services for whatever reason on Tuesdays, for example. So what you can do is just click here and you'll select the toggle to only be available on specific days and times. And then we're just going to set up some availability for Tuesdays. So we'll go ahead and click Tuesday. And then we're just going to click and add a repeating schedule. So we'll click that, and then you can just add some shifts. So let's say, for example, that it's open basically all day. Let's say that they open at 9 and then they're going to close it at, we'll choose 7 p.m. So we'll just go here and click that, and then we just save it. So now we've added a repeating schedule for this particular resource on Tuesdays from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. So if you want to control the availability on a day/time standpoint, that is how you would do that. So now that we've set that up, we've set up our max capacity. Now I'm actually going to show you again how to add this to a service. So all you need to do is go to settings, and then you'll click on services. And then we are going to actually go down to the category we've previously created. It's called steam and saunas. So I'm going to go down there. Okay, and here it is, steam and saunas. So you can see we've already set up, a couple different sessions that are available. Let's go ahead and say we want to add a 45-minute session. So we'll just click on add service. And we'll just call it 45-minute steam room session. And then we'll just choose 45. And then remember I said before, we don't need a staff member for this service. So you want to make sure that when you're at this point, you click on additional options. So we'll click that. And then you'll see that this toggle appears. So this is a bit more of an advanced setting, but it says here requires no staff members, only resources. So we want to make sure that that is enabled because we want to allow people to book this service whenever the steam room is available, but we don't need a staff member. So this is going to allow you to do that. So just make sure that that is toggled and enabled, and then you just hit create. Oh, let's add our price, of course. We'll just put this at $65, and then we'll go ahead and create it. And so now we've created our 45-minute steam room session. And again, this does not require any staff members. And you can always check, if you've already set up a service before and you want to see if you have that staff member setting enabled or disabled, you can actually see here in the details panel, it says requires no staff members. Yes. So this one does not require any staff members. So that is kind of showing you guys how to set up resources that have a max capacity. You can, book multiple appointments at one time for them, but also tying it in with a service that does not require a staff member. So that is how you can set up that to support that use case. Okay, so we've made it through a couple of different use cases. Now I have one more use case to show you. This one is maybe a little bit more creative, but it's going to show you how to schedule limited time services and special events. So this is kind of a more creative way to do that. And you can actually use resource scheduling to support this use case. So when I talk about this, what am I referring to? Some examples of this could be maybe you offer a Friday the 13th tattoo special. Maybe you want to have like a Mother's Day special, some type of events or sessions, services going on related to that. Or also, kind of, we touched on this a little bit previously, but maybe, for example, you want to offer day specific services. So let's say, for example, you have a provider who only comes in on Fridays or who only comes in Tuesdays, for example, or for whatever reason, due to the business setup, how your office is run, you only have a service that is on certain days. So you can actually use resource scheduling to support this use case as well. So let's go ahead and go back to settings. And then we will go to resources again. Okay, and so I really like this use case because the previous two use cases, they were focused on resources that are like tangible objects or spaces. You have a room, you've got a machine, very tangible things. But the cool thing about this use case is that you're using resource scheduling to control something that isn't an actual object or something in your business, but it's just another way to control the availability and the scheduling. So a really fun use case here. So what you can see here is I've previously created a resource group that is called special events. So if you go here on the left side, you can see that I've already made one for special events. And so we have the Friday the 13th tattoo special that I told you about previously. Let's say, for example, that you also made one that's called the Wednesday night massage special. So if we click that, let's say, for example, you've found that Wednesdays are maybe a bit slower day for you. Maybe you want to do something to kind of entice people to book massages on a Wednesday night, a nice post-work massage. They can come in after work, get a little pampering and, relaxation going. So this is just one example of a cool special you could offer your clients and a way to dictate the scheduling of it. So I've previously created the Wednesday night massage special as a resource. And so what we can do here is we'll leave it at one appointment at a time, or we can also do no limit of appointments. So I'm actually going to go ahead and click this because it doesn't need to be one appointment at a time for this use case. So we'll click on no limit of appointments. And then what we're going to do is actually just go to the schedule. And so what we can do now is I've already previously selected only available on specific days and times. So again, you just click that. And then I've actually set it up, but I'll click in here to show you guys what that looks like. So we can edit the repeating schedule. And what I have set up previously is that I added a shift for Wednesdays because again, it's the Wednesday night massage special. So this is only going to be offered from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. So we'll go ahead and just save that again. So that is already set up. So the really cool thing is now this will only be available on Wednesday nights. And then what we need to do now is go back and make sure that our services are set up properly. So if you click on settings, go back here to services, and then we're going to go to our massages category. So we will just scroll down. And then you can see here that we have previously made a Relax Wednesdays massage special service. We've already set that up, but now we want to make sure that it has the proper resource tied to it. So it looks like it has it here. Let me just go ahead and delete that for you so we can go through it again. So we have our massage special set up. All you do is go to the resources tab, and then you just click on add resource requirement. And then we're going to select the group. And this time we're going to select special events. So we click that, and we do not want to do all resources. We only want to allow specific resources. So we're going to click that, and then you can see here the Wednesday night massage special that is coming up as an option. So we'll go ahead and enable the toggle for that, and then we'll save it. Perfect. So we've saved that. So now we can offer this massage special that's only on Wednesday evenings. So a really cool, use case for resource scheduling, and one that you may not think about off the top of your head when you're learning about resource scheduling. So now we've kind of covered 3 main use cases for resource scheduling, and we only have a few minutes left, but I want to make sure that we dive into just a couple really cool new enhancements that we've made to resource scheduling. So the first one here is that now that we've released service customizations, and again, if you haven't yet checked out service customizations, it's something we released a few weeks ago, kind of at the end of May. Definitely check out all of our content we have about it. have out about it. There's a ton of great content. We've got a webinar, lots of good blog content. So definitely check that out. But the really cool thing is that we made sure that resource scheduling was fully integrated with service customizations. So the really cool thing is that now you can actually add a resource requirement to a specific service customization option. So I'm going to show you guys exactly how to do that. So what we're going to do is go on back to settings, our kind of home base here for a lot of this. So click on settings and then just click on services. And what we're going to do now is go to our haircuts category and click on signature haircut. So we're going to click that. And then what you can do is actually click on customizations. And so you can see here, we've already set up a few different option groups for this. This signature haircut, needs a lot of different customizations, add-ons, things like that. But what we're going to do is click on hair length. And then we'll go here. And then to actually add a resource requirement to an option, you're just going to select one of the options. So we'll go ahead and select near shaved / shaved. And then what we're going to do is we are going to add a resource requirement. So in the right-hand panel, you can see how it says this option adds a resource requirement. So we're going to go ahead and toggle that on. And then you can just select the resource group right here. So you don't even need to leave this screen. It's all right here. So we're going to select our group to get started, and we're going to select equipment and tools. And of course, as you guys saw before, we have a lot of different equipment and tools set up in that category. So we do not want to allow just any resource from that category. There's only a specific resource we're looking for. So we're going to go ahead and click that. And then we're going to go ahead and click on this Pro Shaver here. So if we click that, we want to make sure that shaver is always available whenever somebody wants a near shaved or shaved cut. So we'll just click that and make sure that that is turned on, and then just hit done. And that's all you need to do. So now you have a specific customization option that has a resource requirement. So that's really cool. I really recommend playing around with service customizations more, and definitely try out this new functionality where you can add a resource requirement, and you're going to see how seamless and easy to use it is. Okay, so I know we're getting low on time, but there's one more really exciting enhancement that we've added to resource scheduling. And this is actually something we only added in the last couple of weeks. So it's super new, really exciting. A lot of our clients have actually been asking for this. So the really awesome thing that we've added is that now you can add time blocks to resources. So this is really cool. It's going to let you add time blocks to your resources and really just help you ensure that your clients don't schedule services that are using that resource at specific times. So this is also super helpful for kind of a little bit more of an advanced use case. But if we think back to like my steam room, for example, the steam room example, in that one, you can actually allow multiple clients to book the service at the same time. So using time blocks is actually really helpful when you have resources and you have services that can be booked, multiple times. Because what the time blocks will do, and I'll just go to the calendar while talking through this, but the time blocks are really useful because it's actually going to block the entire availability of that resource for the entire time. So like if you have a steam room, for example, that could be booked up to 4 times at once, it'll block that entire availability. So super cool. There's a lot of different use cases for this. Maybe you have a specific room, but it's not available on a certain day, or like maybe it's not available on Fridays, or there's a certain time, for example, that you want to always clean a room or something like that. There's a lot of different reasons why you might want to add a time block for a resource. And so I'll show you how to do that right now. So all you need to do is jump into your calendar view. And then what I'm going to do is actually first adjust the filters just to make it a little bit easier to see. So we are only going to look at the rooms, for example. So we're just going to click on our rooms. Now we're only seeing our rooms. And let's say, for example, that we want to add a time block to room 2. So let's say we want to do one from 4 to 6 p.m. We do not want anybody to book any services that require this room during that time. So all you do is you click here, just click right into the calendar, and then click on create time block. So we're going to click that, and then you can just make it as long as you want. So let's say we're going to scroll down. Let's do a 2-hour time block. And now you can see here that that is running from 4 to 6 p.m. And we've even added a nice little field where you can type a reason. So I'm just going to write closed for cleaning. And then all you need to do is click create time block. So once you click that, that is now blocked off in the calendar, and you can see that this is blocked off whenever you're viewing all of your room resources. So really excited about our new feature to add time blocks to resources. Definitely let us know if you guys run into questions or any questions as you start using that one. But I think that's going to be super beneficial, especially to our people who have a lot of different resources in their business. I think you'll find that you're using this a lot for sure. Okay, perfect. So I know we're running up on our time here. I just want to check and see if we have any questions in our chat. And I do see we have one question. Okay, there's one that came in. So we do have a question coming in. Someone has asked, are resource groups location specific? So that's an excellent question. Thank you for bringing that up. So to comment on that one, so resource groups are not location specific. So what does that mean? That means, say you have a couple different locations in your business. If you make a resource group, it is going to show up for all of your locations. So just keep that in mind. But I do want to add a detail to that. So the resource groups are not location specific. However, you should keep in mind that individual resources are location specific. So what does that mean? If you have, say you have two different locations and each of them has a steam room, for example, you need to make sure that you set up the steam room in both locations, because if you set it up in one, it will not carry over to the other location. So just keep that in mind. That was a really excellent question. Okay, well, I think that's all the questions we had. And I think we'll go ahead and wrap it up here. So thank you so much to everybody who joined today's feature spotlight on resource scheduling. As you all know, we're always releasing exciting new features for Mangomint. We're constantly improving the platform, and we go over all of these updates and features in the feature spotlights. So definitely keep an eye on our website. Make sure you sign up for upcoming webinars that we have. And if you're kind of watching this webinar now or later on, if you're watching it back on the replay and you start to think of any questions, definitely let us know. So you can contact our support team. You can also check out our learning center. We have a lot of different good resources available for you. So awesome. Well, thank you so much, everybody. I think we will end it now, but thanks again. Have a great rest of your day. And thanks for learning about resource scheduling today. All right. Bye, everybody.